Hello and good evening. Dawn Sullivan here with Attention Caregivers, episode one. I'm here with my guest tonight, Leila Laura, and I'm so excited that she's my first very special guest. It's really the way it worked out is the way it was supposed to, which is awesome. For those of you who are just new, and we're all new to this series, my ideas behind the series are to really focus on you if you are a caregiver to a parent, to a spouse, to a child with a disability. Maybe you're a single parent. Maybe there's something special about your situation where you're feeling kind of isolated and alone, and you're giving of yourself, and you're not receiving, or you're having difficulty receiving. And so that's what the series is going to be about. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to have different guests talk about ways that we can love ourselves, ways that we can take care of ourselves. And all of those kinds of things are going to make us better caregivers to our loved ones, or to our careers, or whatever it is that you're, fill in the blank for you. But I really have on my heart to speak to people that are caring for family members that they didn't necessarily expect to have to be in the position to take care of. So for instance, about 10 years ago or so, I was in the position to take care of my father, who had cancer, who ended up passing away. And he was the caregiver to my mother, who was quadriplegic, and she passed away 2 years later. So I was in the position to care for her when he passed away. So there was this time in my life of about 3 or so years that I was just this chronic caregiver, and giving and giving and giving of myself, and everything else went out the window, like my own personal care, my nutrition, my mental stability, things like that. So here I am a few years down the road, and I've learned a lot about how to care for myself. I have a healthcare background anyway. Not that helped when my own family was sick, but I do have that healthcare background, and it did allow me to advocate for them. However, it didn't really force me or put me in a position to take good care of myself. And I left that situation feeling like there was no room for my emotions. When you're a caregiver in that situation, like, you sort of feel like you just have to maintain your posture and yourself, and there's no room for you also to be angry or sad or upset or anxious or whatever, because you're just in the trenches of taking care of a loved one. So if you can relate to that, we'd love to hear your comment or so below. But what I want to do next is introduce my very first guest, Leila Laura. I met you probably a year ago at a networking event, just around maybe a little more than a year ago at a networking event. You have soared since I've met you with your programs and the way that you're helping people. And I'll let you get into that in a minute. But the reason I wanted to have you as a guest tonight was because you have these gifts of really being in tune with people, and what people are feeling and where people have been. You are very skilled at helping assist people get through some karmic, what are the words you want to use? Some karmic energies, and letting go of that. And you also help entrepreneurs with their spiritual side, and helping them to manifest what they desire in life. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So let's get started. Let's just dive right in. So Leila, you have quite a story yourself, actually, and that I know has led you to where you are today, and you really rely on your own experiences, I think, to work with people. So tell us a little bit about where you're coming from and where you're at now in terms of how you're helping.
Yeah. So my name is Leila Laura. I'm a love karma expert, and if you're wondering what are they talking about karma, most people think, I do something bad happens to me. That's not what we're talking about. So karma is really experiences you've had either earlier in life or more so in other lives that have such a strong energy, so much emotion, so much, perseverating around it, that it actually creates this energetic magnet that sits out here in our energy field. So we have our physical body and then an energy body around it. And so the work I do is complicated. I want to stay focused on the topic. But one of the biggest things I see with people Well, in my own experience, first of all, I have chronic Lyme disease, so I've had it for 26 years, and um, I'm a very gifted seer, so I can see energy, past, present, future. I can see, if someone's thinking about me, I see the energy and I get the hit from it. Um, and when clients come to see me, I'm able to see their deepest, darkest uh, secrets and, wounds more so, and help them heal that and really allow love into their life as those things are dissolving. And so, um, for me, self care is essential. So, as much as I have all these gifts, I need a tremendous amount of rest to be able to do what I do. And so, learning to learning to really take care of myself while helping others and supporting others has been like a tough journey. I think it was just about a year ago that in my business I made a huge shift. I heard to make this shift, and it was really tough. Like, a lot of clients were hurt, and but part of that was because I needed to get better at my self care. And so the past year, I've been in my own self care journey of really prioritizing that. And so with self-care, karmically, yes, there's, sacrificial healer. You could be a sacrificial caretaker, meaning you put everybody else in front of yourself, or, failed self-nurturer. So that's like a lot of language I'm giving you guys. But, the bottom line is that if you're taking care of other people, you have to be filled up. And we can't take care of others from an empty bucket.
Right. It's so true. And so many of us have these really demanding jobs. Some of us have jobs in the healthcare industry also, where we're taking care of people or taking care of children all day. And then we sort of come home to our families and take care of that. But then if you also add on top of that, a parent who's, declining with age, or has dementia, or maybe had a stroke or broke a hip, those kinds of stresses. So you're trying to manage your daily routine, and then you also have this on the back burner, or something that you really need to stop what you're doing and take care of. So for somebody in that situation, I know for me, part of the karma work you and I did together was that, I have these karmic histories of being a caretaker. I won't go deep into it, but some of the work that we did together was like sort of helping me release that identity. Would you call it an identity, or the karma of it?
Well, so there's definitely the energy that attracts it to you, but it's also, yeah, it is deeply rooted in an individual's identity, where they like
Yeah.
identify their worth, everything about them from that point of, if I'm taking care of other people, then I'm good. If I'm taking care of me, I'm bad. And that's not
Yes, that is so true. I think that is what happens to many of us that are chronic caretakers, that we feel like that's our role, that is our worth. Our worth is tied to that situation. And then, the person might pass away, or a situation changes, and then you're used to living in overwhelm. And then when the situation changes and the overwhelmed circumstance isn't there anymore, you're sort of like, or I know for myself, what do I do next? And so for me, not having been connected to my spiritual side in like ever, and just going through the motions day after day, I knew that when I came out of that situation, I needed to reconnect to my spirit, and I had no idea how. So I think that I'm not the only one, and that's why I wanted to do this series, because I think there are so many people that just lose their soul and lose their spirit in those kind of giving relationships, when you're not able to receive. And so that then extends to not being able to receive in other ways.
yeah.
So what would you say about receiving love and giving love to yourself, and not feeling guilty about it? Or
Well, so I mean, the guilt part is really difficult, and I could say, oh, it's just mindset, but I'm not. I'm not going to say that, because I'm a huge mindset person, and at the same time, sometimes it doesn't work. But what I would say is that by allowing yourself to have a spiritual practice in your life, you allow yourself to be open to more miracles, more mystery, more joy, less feeling alone. The biggest thing with, sacrificial caretakers is they feel so isolated and alone in their worlds.
yeah,
And they don't feel like it's okay for them to even ask for help. They feel like, the word needy in our society really needs to be taken out of language, because most people are not needy.
Right.
People are just extremely wounded, and they just don't know how to get their needs met. And
Yeah.
so, by, no matter what's going on, people think, okay, I need to take time to pray, or I need to take time to do this, time to do that. For people who are insanely busy, you can always also just have a conversation, constant conversation going on with the divine. Most people who I know, who the more and more deep they get into their spiritual practice, their spiritual life, it's just this constant conversation of being like, asking for help. What can I do? Please support me in this. So then when you're taking care of all these other people, you're not feeling completely alone.
Right. So for someone like myself who wasn't a prayer, I was not a churchgoer,
Yep.
and sort of like, where do I start? Where do you start? When you're talking to the divine or to God or whatever you want to call the powers above.
Well,
Where's a good place to start?
so I think that's what's great is, so it doesn't have to be like a specific person. Like, a lot of people are uncomfortable with the word God, and I respect that. I think that's totally okay. But like, it's kind of just being like, all right, I know there's something else out there. Or if you're not even like to that point, if there's something else out there, please let me know you're here, and just starting to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. And just, on a daily basis, that lots of clients, who were religious in the past, who are regaining their relationship with God. A common prayer for them is, please teach me to trust you again. And so it's just about having a conversation on a daily basis, acknowledging that you're not the one running the show. Because the other thing about caretakers is, a lot of times, and I can say this as someone who I work with a lot of people, I heal a lot of people, we can really struggle with control issues. And, right? Like, I got it all. Don't worry. I've got it
Yep.
all,
Yeah.
and there's something about that, stopping and being
Yeah.
like, hey, God, divine, whoever, whatever the heck's out there, I need help.
Yeah.
And please,
Yeah.
guide me the way, because it really just takes all of that weight just off your shoulder.
Yeah. And that's not something I could have started while I was in it, while I was in the story, while I was in the situation. It's not something I could have like just started doing, or I probably could have. I'm telling myself that story that I couldn't, but had I been spiritual or connected to spirit, or been meditating, or been even thinking along these lines prior to being in a situation that was really stressful, I would have had something to lean back on. So really what I'm doing now is trying to create very solid habits, so that if a situation occurs in the future, God forbid, that I do have habits to rely on. And I think, growing up with, a mom with a disability and a dad who was a little bit checked out, I didn't really have that like spiritual connection in my home that I was growing up in. And then I sort of went out in the world, and I was, doing lots of this and that, but not, connecting with the spirit, so to speak. So I think that it is important, if you're able to start a really good habit of checking in and nurturing your spiritual side before a situation comes up. That's so important. Leila, you and I had talked about the next 2 or 3 years, sort of in the world, or in the universe, or however you want to say it, is a really critical time for kind of humanity, right? There's things going on that on a different level that we can't necessarily see or feel, but it's going to require us to really evolve ourselves. So can you talk a little bit more about that? It'd be more articulate than I just was about what that means.
Yeah, of course. So, to the best of my ability, just because sometimes it's very vague in translation, but the thing is that there is some sort of energetic shift that's been going on. It started like 6-7 months ago, and we've seen a lot more suicides, like very public suicides, or very high profile figures committing suicide, a lot of deaths going on. Mm-hmm. And so there's just this time, and it's really this opportunity where it's like, you either need to hop on and really evolve and grow yourself, reach your soul's potential, as I say to clients, it's like you have to really step in. Like we all know what our potential is. All of those big dreams we have, that's your potential.
Mm-hmm.
Only you are stopping you from having that, right? And that's tough if you're a caretaker and you're in a situation where you have these big dreams and yet, you need to do this all the time. So that's a complicated, but it's doable. It is doable. So if you are a caretaker and you have big dreams, do not give up on your big dreams. Just, maybe make a bigger picture, long run plan. But so in these times, if there's a lot more stress, there's a lot more frustration, and it's really how you choose to respond versus react, and really getting the support you need. So allowing yourself to be loving and kind with yourself, back to the, self-care, that's really the biggest thing, because as much as we need to evolve, we need to get to our next level. Part of that process, sometimes people think, oh gosh, I need to evolve and get to the next level, and it sounds like so hard and so arduous. Sometimes it's just being a nice person.
It's so easy to do, but so quick we forget, right? To be polite and honest and courteous. Yeah.
And authentic and kind to ourselves, and and just being patient and smiling and thanking and acknowledging. Like these are simple things we can do to actually evolve ourselves. There are a lot of people in the world who are completely lost to that concept of just kind of not always trying to bulldoze all over each other in traffic, and more so be aware of all of the people around us and be loving to everyone we're interacting with. And the other thing is asking for help. So part of the thing for and I think it's a great question, especially with talking about caretakers, is part of the thing is for caretakers is stepping up and asking for help, which is interesting, because it's like, okay, no, I can't ask for help. But the reality is you asking for help is actually you overcoming one of your biggest barriers and helping the world be a better place. Because if you're asking for help, if you're getting filled up, if you're, taking baths, nurturing yourself, filling yourself up with love, then you have more love to shed. So every time we shift our energy, and even it's just our vibration of an attitude of gratitude, or, being more kind, opening doors for people, that completely switches the vibration around us. So, every single one of my Soul Ovation clients, they're in this deep process of transformation, but they're not just transforming themselves. They're transforming, their romantic partners or their to-be partner and, their family. And it just goes on and on. And so we're all this ripple effect. And so it's very important that people realize how powerful we are. We are so incredibly powerful, and how we live our life, how we show up in the world is essential. And, putting habits into place, like being loving, kind, allowing yourself to be present and connected, versus, some of our go-tos in this society are instead to heavily drink, or, binge eat, or binge watch Netflix. Binge watch Netflix is one of my favorites. But,
with a bottle of wine and a bag of chips, right? Yeah.
But that's not going to actually fill me up so I can
right.
clients the next
day. So there's a few points that you just made, and one of the things I want to let people know, if people are out there listening who are caretakers, it is really hard to ask for help, and I want to give you a couple of reasons why. It's hard to ask for help because you can't always feel like someone's going to do it the way you would do it. So taking care of your loved one, lots of people don't want to let other people into their home if it's a spouse or a child, especially if it's a child. Do you know how to position him? Do you know how to give him, the treatments or the medications, or, for medically fragile children? And there's so much anxiety there for the caretaker, the parent usually. So to have someone else come in and take care of the loved one, there is a control battle that kind of goes on inside your head. You don't really want to ask for help because you don't trust the other person to do it as well as you would do it, or to know what to do in the way that you know what to do, which I think is really just false. That's just a story that we tell ourselves to kind of help us maintain control of the situation that is out of control and overwhelming. And really to be able to step back and evaluate and say, you know what, there are other people who could feed my spouse or feed my parent or, do whatever with my child. So get my child on the school bus or whatever. So there are ways that people can help you. And if that allows you to take a break, to go for a walk in nature, or to, go to a therapy appointment yourself, or to go for a massage or whatever, don't feel guilty like taking a break for yourself, because that's going to help you return and be even better at what you're doing, and what you're trying to do. So, and then also to just be super grateful. I also remember being very irritable and annoyed most of the time when I was being in the caregiver role. And I didn't spend a lot of time being grateful for the time that I had with my parents and for the people that were willing to come in and help. So, when you're in the trenches, you're in the trenches. I don't know what to say about it, but looking back, if that's something that I can tell someone now who is in that same position, just think about like allowing someone to come into the house, allowing somebody to give you a break, and being grateful when they do, not to feel like they're taking your power or they're taking control of the situation, because it's really better for everyone, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all such important things. Like the asking for help and allowing people to come in is important. Things happen in life and you can't control everything. And so it's so important to just kind of let go and trust and know, if someone is doing something wrong, you'll have the conversation. And that's the other thing with a lot of caretakers is they struggle with boundaries. And it's okay to have boundaries. It's really healthy to have boundaries, to say yes, no, and to just kind of trust the process. When you're given an opportunity to take care of a loved one, it's an opportunity. You're not obligated to do that. And a lot of obligation is self-imposed. Like this, I have to do this because they raised me, or I have to do this because of that reason. And it's a choice, and you have to feel empowered in your choices, and only you can do that. Yes, you can work with coaches. Yes, you can go to therapists. You can do all this stuff, but I'll give you a very free tip right now that maybe
Write
a
this
lot of
down.
them, which is, like, guess what? You are in charge. You are the boss. And anytime, like all of your parts, right? So we have woundings and parts of us break off, anytime they start running the show and like all of a sudden you've got like a 12-year-old running the show. No, 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 no. You are the adult, and you need
Yeah.
to sit down with yourself and say, hey, guess what? I hear you. I'm aware that like we've had bad experiences and that we're scared. That's the biggest one. I'm scared. And, you know, we're making the choice. I'm going to take care of this person. Or, you know what? We have too much on our plate right now. And I love this person and I'm going to support them in finding the best help I can get for them. But I don't have the ability to do that. And that's the big one. Admitting
Yeah.
I can't do this at this time.
Yeah. That's so liberating. That's so liberating to hear you say that. And I know that, the first step of the 12 steps is surrendering, right? To surrendering to that, you have too much to handle it. You can't do it all. And just really surrendering your power about that. So that's amazing. So tell us a little bit about what your work with entrepreneurs and your soul elevation program. Tell us a little bit about how you work with people and what you offer and what kind of results you're seeing with your clients.
Yeah, so basically, I work with people in two ways now. I do soul elevation, which is a private one on one process in which there's coaching and really looking at someone's energetics. And the reason I call myself a love karma expert is because I find that behind pretty much any struggle, love is always the root. There's always some sort of love thing that is the problem. And allowing more love into your life. And so, I work with people with whatever their desires are. If it's romantic love, I'm very good at that one. That is kind of like my main thing. And, depression, trauma, so many things. But it's really, I help people who are successful gain more success by allowing more love into their life. And so with entrepreneurs, it's really helping them, find that love in their business and balance in their life. And so, time management's a thing we
Yeah.
talk about a lot. And then the other way I work with people is I just opened enrollment for Rejected Bride Tribe.
I saw that on Facebook. So tell us what that's all about, because I know a little bit about what it's all about, but tell us more. Tell our audience, because I think this is super interesting, and yeah,
I'm
people
ecstatic.
definitely want to be involved in this.
Yeah, so I'm ecstatic about this one. It's been 2.5 years in the making, and basically it's a 4-month intensive love karma program. And this is definitely geared a little bit more towards people who are wanting like romantic love in their lives. Soul Elevation, we can set our specific goals. But it's a 4-month intensive, and you're in a tribe, and we start with a really powerful activation session, which is 2 hours, and it's all via Zoom except for so it starts January 8th, but except for the last weekend in April, in which we go on a 3-day retreat. And
wow,
yeah,
sounds amazing.
It's going to be really special. So awesome. It's going to be amazing. And, I'm already set. I already have compiled lists for, I've been studying this work for a while, and I'm obsessed with it. I'm a total geek when it comes to love and energetics. And, Soul Elevation is a compilation of multiple modalities. So these people will be experiencing the Soul Elevation work in a group format, and really just getting to the place where they're allowing love in. And whether it's just that self-care, or if it's that the one and the guy you're wanting, those are going to be our goals. And it's going to just be really special. And I'm really excited to see who shows up. So
yeah. Well, the right people will show up for sure. You're still accepting clients for that and for Soul Elevation right now?
Yeah, so Soul Elevation, I have a few slots. So I always see 6 to 10 Soul Elevation clients at a time. And it just depends on the clients and how much energetic need there is. That's my self-care, is being mindful of that. And then with Rejected Bride Tribe, there's 8 slots. And the first, for people who sign up before November 15th, it's a $7,000 program. After that, it goes up to $8,000.
Okay.
What's it called? The first 3 people who sign up, because we literally I haven't even sent out an email or anything yet. The first 3 people who sign up get an extra hour. So I gift everyone an hour one-on-one with me, but the first 3 people get an extra hour. So 2-hour intensive with me.
Awesome. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more and join your programs?
Yeah, so checking out leilalora.com. So LeilaLaura.com. And so my programs are all in there. Everything's clear cut. I put all my pricings on the site. I have nothing to hide. You go to those sites and you're like, what's going on here?
Right.
No, it's very clear, and there's amazing testimonials. I mean, I'm so floored by the testimonials I have, and I'm still floored on a day-to-day basis by my clients. What was it? One of my newest clients, we started working together 3 weeks ago, and one of her intentions was, I want to save for, a house and blah, blah, blah. And she just texted me the other day, I got a $3,000 check in the mail, like unexpected.
Yeah.
Savings has started,
Yeah. So part of the other work you do is helping people manifest these desires into their reality. So amazing. If you're even thinking about working with Leila, I would definitely give her a call, or at least follow her on Facebook, because she does have amazing value and really unique gifts that I've not run into before. And wish I had met you 10 years ago, but I think 10 years ago you maybe weren't at this level either. So I don't know.
I was at this level a year ago.
Yeah. Awesome. Neither was I.
I that Dawn, I'm like, she's so radiant. I love this.
I had some karmas released a little while ago. So yeah, this is the real me. So this is awesome. Again, thank you so much for your time. Again, if you want to get in touch with Leila, leilalora.com. And I will be back next Tuesday at 8:00. Next Tuesday, I'm going to have my friend Katie, who is writing a book for women about positive self-talk. So you're not going to want to miss that. And thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.